So today's video, we're going to be talking about Motec and the Coyote Platform. First up on the video, we're going to be talking about the plug-and-play kit for the 6-speed manual S550. Let's get started. Alright guys, so I don't have an M150 ECU for this plug-and-play harness, but do have the harness itself, and then I'm going to just kind of show you just some of the different things. So first thing is this block that you'll see here. This mimics the factory ECU. As far as for the S550 platform, 2-plug ECU. Not exactly sure where they sourced this, and actually, looking at this ECU is actually, the pins on this thing are damaged. So I will tell you guys that I'm not speaking about Kyle in this video. But definitely want to be careful, because if you look here, I just noticed there are 2 pins inside of here. I don't know if the camera is going to show it, but let me see. Yeah, you can see it right there. There are 2 pins inside there that are bent. So when it comes to buying this stuff, and then maybe I should start off with that. When it comes to buying this stuff used, or even when it comes to buying this stuff new, keep in mind you're buying an expensive setup. You're buying an expensive setup. So, you want to educate yourself as much as possible on, not only just, cost and how to install these things, but, maintenance, how these things are supposed to look, how they're supposed to function, et cetera, et cetera. That'll prevent, you potentially purchasing things with an issue like this. Because truthfully, looking at that, I should be able to bend those pins back, but say if this is a situation to where those pins broke, this is a potted ECU. So, I mean, a potted, electrical device, meaning they dump epoxy in this, pretty much this case to preserve all the pins and the wiring that are inside. AKA, you can't undo this. Once this is done like this, you can't do this. So there is no repair method, for repairing broken pins like this once they actually shear off. So just keep that in mind. Where you buy the stuff, who you buy it from matters. This is not, not no disrespect to Holly, because I've had a Holly ECU before. Great ECU, no issues that I can really, say I had with that ECU. But, looking at my Holly setup, if I speak for my personal car, or even not even talking about my personal car, these kits run plug and play for the S550 or the S197 run about $9,000. The Holly kit's they cost about half that. You can buy everything really you need for a Holly setup for about half that. So it's a lot of money. Don't play around with anything really related to this stuff. If you buy this stuff from someone like a vendor or something, like, you're gonna have to be very cognizant of who you buy this stuff from, because say for example, if you buy this from somebody that's incompetent as far as install or knowledge on this, or being able to troubleshoot different things, you could be stuck with this. You could be stuck with this, and then you would have to figure out, how do I, fix this, or whatever the case, whether you're having an issue with, programming something or installing the sensor or whatever the case is. That's a big thing that, one of the big differences between Motec and places like, companies like Holly and different things. Customer service that you get from this and the customer service level that you get from the dealers that you purchase from are extremely high. Motec holds them to a very high standard. Being able to not only sell the products and, them make a profit on the products that they sell, but the other side of that is they expect you to offer and support the products that you're selling. So that is, somebody might be, you might get people shopping around for pricing on these things. You might find somebody $100, $500, maybe even $1,000 cheaper. But just keep in mind, make sure that they are able to support you through your journey with this stuff. Don't get left with, a situation where you potentially buy something new or used, and the person that you purchased from can't offer you any support at all. There's, especially when you talk about the Coyote platform, there's not a lot of people out there running these things. So, having the most amount of support that you can have when it comes to this is going to help you out big time. So keep that in mind. This is essentially what replaced the ECU. So you would unplug your factory ECU, plug this in. Very easy, very straightforward. Next thing you'll see is this resistor here, more than likely for the CAN system. Then moving on, you have another another breakout here. These are your coil drivers for your ignition coils. They just plug in. Nothing really to worry about there. They're labeled IGN1, IGN2. I threw some zip ties on these to kind of keep them organized for Kyle. But yeah, very straightforward there. And then you got your 4 ECU connectors here. These will simply just plug into the ECU. And just to give you an idea of what this box does. So it takes, say, like, for example, the oil pressure sensor input that the factory engine harness gets from the oil pressure sensor. It takes that. Now, there's a lot of CAN involved. I can't really comment on too much how they got the CAN system working along with this, but the simple way is they essentially piggyback the signal coming from the factory harness, somehow implement it and through this box, and then it comes out and goes into the Motec. So, like, say, for example, if I go into the software, there's a pin for, say, oil pressure signal. That pin goes here, but it's getting a signal goes into the Motec here, but it's getting a signal from here, which once again is the engine harness, the factory engine harness. That 4 pins, so you can plug it into the Motec M150 ECU. Very straightforward there. And then you have this 12-pin breakout harness, which provides a few different things like sensor ground, 5-volt. It gives you a few inputs for things like fuel pressure, map sensor, different things like that. They pretty much broke it out so you don't have to worry about going into the harness to get those things. You have a 12-pin connector that has those. And then you also have your Ethernet cable. Your Ethernet cable is what Motec uses to be programmed. I know a lot of places you would typically, a lot of things you would say like for RTD. RTD uses USB. Holly uses USB. Pretty much everybody uses USB besides Motec. They use the Ethernet. So as crazy as this might sound, this is all you need for the plug and play ECU. This is it. This will keep all your factory functions: AC, cruise control, heat, radio, doors, etc., etc. The only thing that you pin out from extra or have to wire up extra, which is why Kyle sent me the harness, is things like it has to have a map sensor, has to have solenoid control for the boost solenoids, has to have fuel pressure, dome pressure signal to supply the wastegates with air pressure. So those are the roughly 4 or 5 sensors that you have to wire up outside of just plugging everything up. So super simple setup. So I just wanted to go over the harness that I did for Kyle. He wanted flex fuel, so I got the flex fuel sensor in there. The map sensor, IAT, fuel pressure, wired up his boost solenoids, wired up the LTC for the O2 sensors. So got them all taken care of. Look good. All right, guys. So now that we talked a bit about the plug and play S550 Motec setup that they currently make for the 2015 and 17 Mustang GT 6-speed manual. The 6R80 version is set to release here in the next couple of weeks. So definitely reach out to me if you're interested in getting a hold of that. But they also currently make a 11 to 14 plug and play kit for the 6R80, along with the 11 to 14 Mustang plug and play kit for the 6-speed manual. And then we, earlier in the video, we talked about some of the differences and whatnot. So now I want to just kind of go and show you what the other end of a install looks like for a non-plug and play kit. So say if you got a race car, if you're taking out a lot of factory wiring to mess with the factory CAN bus stuff, then you really would want to kind of step away from the plug and play kit and look to do your own complete install. That's what we've done here. My 2012 Boss 302 that is all finished up, that we will be going through the tuning process now, and then we'll be hitting the dyno and off to the track. So this install is a lot more involved. So say for the plug and play kits, regardless of the year, I would expect about depending on your wiring ability, because once again, as I mentioned in the previous video, you do have to add a couple of sensors like fuel pressure, dome pressure, map sensor, wire people, solenoids, that sort of thing. So depending on the way you do your install, you'll probably have a couple hours involved in that, plus the mounting and all of that stuff. It's really just getting stuff set up as far as the plug and play kit. Versus this full install, you have to literally make everything. So on my car, I have roughly about 30 sensors, turbo shaft speed sensors, laser height sensors, shock sensors, oil pressure, coolant pressure, crankcase pressure, all of that good stuff. Along with I have a lot of factory functions, stuff like electric power steering, tail lights, turn signals, headlights, all that good stuff. It was a lot more involved process. All of that wiring had to be made from scratch, of course, along with the engine harness, coil packs, and things like that. So definitely a lot more involved. I would say I have probably close to between 120 to 150 hours of work as far as wiring goes, and invested into this Motec setup. My setup also uses with the previous setup I showed you, you essentially get the M150 ECU and then your plug and play harness. With this install, I have the M150 ECU. I have the PDM30, which controls all of my power stuff, along with the C1212 dash. So that brings the cost from like say on the lower end for the 6-speed manual S550 or S197 plug and play kit. I think that kit is around like 7,000 or 8,000, and then the 6R80 is about 9,000 or so. With everything I've gotten invested into my kit, you're going to be looking at closer to about 17 to 20,000 in parts, whether that includes wire connectors and things like that, along with all the firmware, ECU, once again PDM and all that good stuff, along with the install time. And you can do the math on install. Like I said, I would imagine any install would have at least about 100 hours into this, if not more than that, depending on how detailed you want everything, and once again, the amount of sensors and factory functions that you want. So you can expect, at 100 hours, and say if you found a installer to do it at $100 an hour, you're looking at roughly about at least about $10,000 in labor, if not more than that. So just to give you an idea of what to expect as far as cost. But man, as far as functionality, you get, it's been pretty cool to experience this ECU setup and be able to kind of enjoy some of the things that it has to offer. I'm looking forward to learning more about it in the future as I progress with my journey and whatnot. So I'm going to do a quick walk around, just to kind of give you an idea of some of the factory stuff that you could, not factory, some of the things just in general that you can do, and just give you an idea of how I set my personal setup. And then you could, gauge on it, say if you wanted me, or if have another idea for an installer, some of the things you might want to get when you do your setup. All right, and we have my turbo setup with the Motec M150 ECU, PDM30, along with the C121 dash or C1212 dash. As I stated, one of the biggest differences between the doing a full standalone setup versus a plug and play, you have to make all your factory wiring. I mean, all of your wiring, not factory wiring, all of your wiring for everything that you want on the car. So I wired up this car still uses factory pedal and drive-by-wire system. You know, race grade coil packs here. And then I did, you know, I have ID 2600s in my car. So, you know, injector harness, all that good stuff to make the engine run. And then you have to add, like I stated, all of your other sensors that you want. So like right here, I have my crankcase pressure sensor. Underneath here, that's where I get my coolant temp and also crankcase pressure. I'm sorry, coolant pressure. So yeah, did my best to tuck everything so you don't really see many wires. I intentionally hid the vast majority of the wires under the intake and around and underneath the car, just to give it a clean look, keep it serviceable, keep the stuff out the way, etc., etc. And moving into the inside, I have, like I stated, the C1212 dash. And this thing is pretty cool because you get to get all of your readings that you want, of course, and then a nice 12-inch display. So that means you can, you know, of course, you can see it has an odometer on there. This is a custom dash. Shout out to Nathan. He makes all of the dashes for T1 race. You know, the big GTR Lambo company. He got this custom dash for me while I'm waiting on my full custom dash that he's making and designing, which is coming out pretty badass. So I'll definitely have to do another video on that. I kept my same steering wheel setup. I love this setup with the carbon paddles. So in this setup, this is my bump and this is my trans brake. And as you can see, I have in the software for the PDM. So when I hold the trans brake, it makes all my lights flash on the car. I thought that was pretty cool. So that's one of the beautiful things about the PDM is you can not only power everything on your car, but you can power it the way you want it. So I mean, it's just literally an endless amount of options that you have with the PDM. Like I wanted all my factory run lights and everything to work, third brake light, license plate tag, etc., etc. So I was able to do that fairly easy with the PDM. And then the integration via CAN with everything just makes it even nicer. So like my dash sees everything, my ECU sees, my PDM sees everything, my dash and my ECU sees. So it's a nice solid system. You even can do stuff like, say, you know, this is the button for my turn signal here. So when I press it, as you can see, it flashes on the dash to kind of let me know, hey, your turn signal is on. And then within the PDM, send power to this part of the tail light, and then I can also program it to do a flash, and I can program the flash how fast or, you know, bright or whatever the case is. So it's such a cool and in-depth system. I mean, literally just gives you endless amounts of control. And then along with being able to log all of that data, say it's so for example, things like my fuel pumps. My fuel pumps are connected to my PDM. It can see all of that data from the fuel pumps, and I can overlay it over my ECU data. So say for example, if I'm thinking that I got a drop in fuel pressure, I don't have to guess. I can literally look at the log from my PDM and the ECU and see what's going on my PDM. Is my PDM, you know, on average, is it 19 amps, but now on this last pass it was down to 10 amps. That'll definitely explain why my fuel pressure would be dropping, and hey, it might be time to replace that pump. Which is, and another cool thing is it sees all the pumps individually. So just definitely a nice solid system. Of course, I got the backup camera here. And then I got my CO2 parachute set up. I added a gear position sensor to the transmission. So now when I go into first, second, third, you know, the transmission and the dash and the ECU all sees that. And then shout out to Nathan once again. So say when I go in reverse, it goes to the backup camera. Go out of reverse, back into neutral, goes into neutral. So that's a pretty cool feature. It actually has another page on here too that I need to add a button so I can start looking at, but that's more wiring for another day. But yeah, I wish there was more that I could show you as far as the like the standalone side of what I did. But then again, I think that's, you know, one of the big reasons why I did it the way I did is because I really didn't want a lot of the wiring and everything to be shown. But all of my PDM and my ECU is underneath the carpet here. All of the wiring essentially is just a bunch of, it's like not two main harnesses. It's a few harnesses that run from the PDM and the ECU through here and then branch out to the front of the car, to the back of the car and whatnot. So yeah, and then I have my, got my onboard air set up, my puke tank set up back here. So yeah, everything is coming out great, man. This has been it's been a lot. And yes, the car still even has power locks, power windows. So yeah, I'm super excited about this build. The install was not fun. It was definitely a lot of work. But it came out very, very well. I'm hoping to be doing a Motec install on my twin turbo E-Ray. It's outfitted with G35 1050 gear turbos, pipe performance turbo kit. But hopefully we'll be doing a Motec install on this thing here soon. But once again, so far the Boss 302 project is wrapping up. We'll be knocking out final tuning here in the next week, and then we will be moving on to the dyno, and then we'll be off to the track. Super excited. I'm gonna drop a run video so you can get an idea of how this thing sounds with the Motec setup. I think it sounds a lot better and a lot different than it did with the Holly setup. Of course, that's not why I did it, but it is cool to have that difference there as far as sound goes between the two ECUs. But nonetheless, I'll drop that in here right now. Here you go. Boom. And as you can see, it sounds pretty damn good. So yeah, it sounds fucking amazing. I can't wait to get this thing all wrapped up and go out and go and race, man. This is my Motec project and my Motec journey. I'm gonna do a better job of trying to show some of the middle, but with this project, it was just easier to show the end because the middle and the start was just it's just a lot of work, a lot of learning, and a lot of reading, to be perfectly honest with you. But shout out to Jay Meager at RS Garage, who helped me out a lot. Shout out to Ben Zopini. Shout out to Nathan, once again, the design, one of the designers over there at T1. He has his own company, which I'll try and drop a link to as well. But yeah, if you have any questions or want to get a custom or a plug and play Motec setup done on your car, definitely don't hesitate to reach out to me. I do my best to get you taken care of on a project like this. So yeah, I appreciate you guys watching as always, subscribing, the people that do subscribe, and following along on this race journey with me. And as always, stay blessed.